in the sake of still being respectful to the flag and respectful to the country in which you are representing when you go over to Tokyo, because let's be real, you're representing USA, I feel like there could have been a better way of protesting and saluting at the same time. And I know some people hate the Kaepernick situation, but I feel like that was, in my personal opinion, that's more respectful than full on turning your back from your country's flag. Pascal. Gwen Berry turns away from flag on U.S. Olympic trials podium, says she was set up, quote unquote set up. So hammer thrower Gwen Berry says that the playing of the national anthem while she was on the podium at the U.S. Olympic track and field trials was a quote unquote setup. Berry, as you can see right here, turned away from the flag to face the stands while the Star-Spangled Banner played during the medal ceremony on Saturday. She then draped a T-shirt bearing the words "activist athlete" over her head. Having placed third in the hammer event at the trials in Eugene, Oregon, Berry earned a spot on the U.S. team for the Tokyo Olympics, which is great, all right, which get underway next month. This is what she said. I feel like it was a setup. I feel like they did that on purpose, and I was pissed, to be honest, said Berry of the anthem being played while she was on the podium. I was thinking about it. I was thinking about what I should do. Eventually, I just stayed there and just swayed. I put my shirt over my head. It was real disrespectful. I know they did that on purpose, but it'll be all right. I see what's up. Okay? So, U.S. track and field, the USATF did not respond to CNN's request for comment, but according to Reuters, it said that the anthem was played each day at the trials according to a pre-arranged schedule. They said, we didn't wait until the athletes were on the podium for the hammer throw awards, said a spokesperson. We're thrilled with the women's hammer throw team that selected themselves for the games. The anthem has been played once each evening throughout the trials. So, of course, Berry is upset about this, thinking that this was some full-on setup. Okay. Now, of course, we got to talk about, because more than anything, aside from her saying I was set up. Okay. More than her saying I was set up, it's the fact that more people are more upset at the fact that she turned away from the flag. She did this. I mean, of course, there are other photos of her. Let me try to pull those up really quick, where she full on just turns her back to the full on. Sorry, I'm pulling this up really quick. Full on turns her back from the flag as everybody else sits there and, of course, shows their respect, does the traditional thing. Of course, there it is. Turning away from the flag. So a lot of people are very upset about this. And of course, we definitely got to talk about that and see what the heck you guys think about this. But of course, I want to throw this over to David, because I want to hear his thoughts about this really quick. I don't get why she thinks that, like, when she says, I feel that I was set up, I don't fully understand how she feels like she was set up. I'm thinking, from what it is, it seems like she's saying, hey, as soon as I went up there, they started playing the Star-Spangled Banner. They didn't do that with everybody else. But now the USATF is saying, no, we were doing that on every single award ceremony. So now you see what I'm saying. So now it's kind of a he said, she said type of situation. And, I of course I wasn't watching the show. I wasn't watching the event. I wasn't there during the event. In fact, I'm sitting here going, I want to see video footage of what actually happened. But I've been looking and trying to find footage of the actual event, and I haven't found anything as of yet. But I would want to see the footage before I jump all the way on and say, oh, she most definitely was, or she most definitely was not. You see what I'm saying? I want to see the Carfax. You see what I'm saying? I want to see the background story before I actually go, oh, how dare she? But I will say this, though, too, before I throw it over to David. I'm sorry. I will say this, though, too. If they did do something where they were trying to get her in control, trying to control her, then that's really jacked up, and it would really piss me off, too. Okay? But in the sake of still being respectful to the flag and respectful to the country in which you are representing when you go over to Tokyo, because let's be real, you're representing USA, I feel like there could have been a better way of protesting and saluting at the same time. And I know some people hate the Kaepernick situation, but I feel like that was, in my personal opinion, that's more respectful than full on turning your back from your country's flag. That's what I think. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, what in tarnation, and oh, she's, as Zozo Bob said, Fox and Friends this morning called her actions traitorous and un-American. I'm not going to sit there and say that. I will not say that it's traitorous or un-American, like exactly what I was going to say. How dare, what in tarnation? This is a debacle. But I do believe that she could have expressed herself in a different way and still be patriotic, still be respectful. Her turning her back from the flag, that is very disrespectful. I don't care what it is. That is universally disrespect, period. It's disrespectful. But I get what she's trying to say. Real quick before I throw on David and hear his thoughts, real quick, I'm sorry. I want to show you guys something. I want you guys to see something. This, in my personal opinion, is what I call respect and showing where you stand. This, to me, where there were athletes that were saluting and showing and representing the Black Panther movement and Black Power, all that stuff. There is a way to get your point across and still be respectful to your country's flag that you are actually representing when you go compete at the Olympics. This is what I think. I don't think what she did was traitorous. I think what she did was, let's just say, a guttural, visceral reaction to something where she felt that she was being set up. Number one. Number two, I think that she did not think before she did it. She just did her thing because she was angry and she was in her emotions. But I really do think turning away is worse than doing this. It's worse than the Colin Kaepernick stuff, kneeling, etc. Now, Stygian said, I think they did something trifling and she let her emotions get the best of her. Exactly. I think that her emotions got the best of her. She forgot that she was representing something. She didn't take the diplomatic route. She took the I'm just at home dealing with some BS at home, and I reacted emotionally as if I was behind closed doors. But at the same time, you are on a platform in front of millions of people that are watching you going, hey, you're the next such and such that's going to be going into the Olympics, and hopefully you break records and hopefully you do some dope things, But she decided to go with her emotions and not think before she acted. This is what I think about that situation. I think of course she's going, she's standing her ground. She's doubling down on what she said. She said, I said what I said. I did what I did. It is what it is. But at the same time, I do truly believe that there's a way to show respect for the flag, respect for your country, and still be able to say that you are an activist athlete. There's so many different ways you can do that in a respectful manner. And of course, no matter what, it's still going to anger people. But turning your back, that's going to piss off a lot of people. A lot of people. So, David, what are your thoughts on this real quick?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I just agree with you here. First off, I did look into it a little more. So typically they play the national anthem every day around 5:20. They played it a few minutes later this day. It looks like because they were in the middle of announcing the victors, so they had to wait until they finished the announcements before they could play the national anthem. So they played it less than 5 minutes later than normal because they were in the process of saying who just won the event. So, I mean, taking that in addition to the Olympics are very much a different thing from, say, sports within the U.S. For one thing, you're pointing to Kaepernick, which is a fine example here because that's within the U.S., and he's the thing is, too, he's just taking a knee, which is a sign of distress. It's not a sign of disrespect. It's a sign that something is wrong, and she's just kind of turning away here. And with the Olympics, it's very much different. You're there specifically to represent the U.S. You're not really the important one there as far as that goes. You're just representation. And I don't know. It seems a bit narcissistic to think they changed the schedule to do that to her when it's roughly at the same time, and that her, I guess, her views should take place over the Olympic standards here, because I did look it up. It is very normal it is perfectly normal daily to do the national anthem at that time. So that doesn't seem to be true of that.
Right.
And ultimately, the Olympics are a representation of the nation, not the individual. So this is one instance where I do think it's pretty inappropriate to do that. Let's see. On top of that, I would say there's a few things too, especially. I mean, I would say that like black people within the U.S. Olympics does represent something different and a little more. I guess you could call it patriotic or something else. I mean, because one of the first times we had a major group of black athletes within the Olympics was 1936 when the Nazis said that they wouldn't allow them there, which we sent anyway. And then the Nazis pretended they weren't there, even though all the black people were winning a lot of rewards. So the Nazis hid all of that. And the U.S. was one of the exceptions in that, in sending black people to basically say F you to the growing Nazi party at the time, because we're still going to use them. They're Americans and they're going to represent America. And I mean, you got the Black Panther incident as well, which I think is a fine example of representing your own issues while still being distinctly American and what has happened. So I think her behavior here is more narcissistic than anything. I wouldn't call it like traitorous or anything. It's just kind of placing her above, I guess, the whole of the nation. Not really the whole of the nation, but just like the symbology of it. If she took a knee, that'd be very different. That's showing, like I said before, distress. This is common. I mean, even in the military, you would take a knee during the national anthem if someone has died or something like that. So that's not unusual at all. That's showing distress.
Yeah.
However, turning your back is just a sign of disrespect, in addition to trying to focus on her own activities, I guess, instead of the General Olympics, especially when she came in third place, and the other two didn't really say anything about themselves. They just played and won.
Yeah, I think, what's interesting to me is, like I said, I think if she wanted to really make her, get her point across on trying to show respect and also bring awareness, she could have easily just taken a knee. She could have easily raised a fist. She could have easily done something to show respect to the flag and, of course, respect and acknowledgement to the movement that she's backing. And she says herself that she's going to continue to use her platform and use her where she is to raise awareness on systemic racism, on police brutality, on the unjust that goes on in America with black people. And I'm not with it. I am with that all day. I just think she needs to find a better way of expressing herself. But I do think that what happened was a guttural reaction. And it was what's the word? Not ill-informed, but like, it was terribly displayed. Right. And I feel like if she had the chance to do that all over again, I think she would have done something different. You know, like I said, I think it was spur of the moment type of reaction. But there is something else I did want to say, too. Now, and I noticed that some other people were saying this, and this is very true. It's funny how we have people like Fox and Friends going after this woman, Gwen Berry, saying, oh, you know, that's, traitorous and unpatriotic and, you know, what in tarnation. But then look at what happened, you know, in January. The stuff that went down there. They didn't disgrace America. They didn't disgrace the flag. They were beating cops up with flags, with the American flag. Okay? There was crazy, traitorous, treason, terrorism, every T word you could think of on American soil in January. But no one really, like, it's so frustrating that the right doesn't want to talk about this, or they don't bring any awareness to this. And that's what's so frustrating. But they'll go to this one woman, an athlete, who's just bringing awareness. Now, like I said, it was poorly done, poorly done. And she probably, if she had another chance to do it, she probably would have done it correctly. And yes, not good. Not what she did was not good. But at the same time, they're trying to throw this one woman under the bus and basically say, oh, see, this is all the black athletes. This is what they're going to do. Look at that. Traitorous, unpatriotic. Yet you have January 6th to happen. People running around with damn nooses, freaking flags, Confederate flags, etc., beating the crap out of these officers and people who are trying to protect that building and the people inside it. And yet we don't talk about that at all. At least on the right. The right won't talk about that at all. But they'll ride the hell out of somebody that may have done something that was a little tasteless, you know, poorly executed. But then suddenly this person is, be careful, these are traitors. They're the ones who are trying to destroy our world. That's ridiculous, y'all.
Yeah, I guess I somewhat agree here. So as far as the 6, I pretty much agree with what you said, that it hasn't been sufficiently addressed. And there was just a thing the other day that kind of annoyed me, where they had one of the surviving officers on Fox News, and they kind of just disrespected him and wouldn't let him answer the whole time. That's the worst thing of it I've seen, is that a lot of the right-leaning sources will defame the cops or ignore them over this issue. But ultimately, I just don't necessarily think that January 6th has anything to do with the Olympics here, and we shouldn't necessarily be using people that only focus on one thing as role models. Obviously, that is a problem with them, but I don't think that tying January 6th to the Olympics is necessarily accurate, and we shouldn't be trying to act like people that ignore one problem and focus on another, as they're both problematic. Obviously, the 6 is much more problematic, but I guess I just don't see it directly linked to the Olympics. It was 6 months ago, and it's totally involving different groups of people. And I agree that it needs more focus, especially with how the right has been silencing all the officers that were there that day. But as for the Olympics, it wasn't even just a thing that only got focused, I would say, in the U.S. So her response drew pretty much international attention, and I think that is a big part of it. One of the things that I saw going around was immediately after, there was a flight of Italian supporters for the local Olympics, like in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
They ended up singing the U.S. national anthem while flying in response to that.
Interesting.
There's a few African Olympics who ended up singing the U.S. national anthem.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that drew pretty much negative response across the world from people that would support or not support her otherwise. So yeah, as far as that goes, I think that's a big part of it, is that it wasn't just the U.S. that thought it was strange, but there was the whole part of the whole international process behind the Olympics that thought that there was something odd about it, I guess, and that's why there were so many foreigners singing the U.S. national anthem that day. And there is, I mean, at the same time, we had pretty much a revolutionary day in Qatar because they sang the Israeli national anthem for the first time ever because they won the Olympics there. And I thought that was a good sign where all the Qataris who a year ago would have been arrested for that stood up to the Israeli national anthem in pride of their foreign competitors there, which I thought was kind of heartwarming, to be honest. The way different people respond to this will change throughout the world. But however, I just think her response was not just, like I said before, basically, she didn't take the knee like Kaepernick did, which is a sign of respect. She just turned away and didn't participate with the others.
Word. And
not only that, but she was just kind of taking a lazy stance the whole time, I think. And
yeah, like I said, I don't think she knew what she was doing. I think she just she was shooting from the hip, you know? Like I said, I am not justifying her actions in regards to what she did. Like I said, if she was planning on doing something that was going to show activism or respect to something, she didn't come up there planned. Like that was all improv. She was just kind of like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And she could have easily just raised a fist, taken a knee. There are some things that she could have done rather than just turn her back away from the flag. That's why everybody's losing their damn minds. You know, I think it was ill prepared, or like I said, just just poorly done. A poorly done representation of, because like you can't tell me that she was saying that she was trying to show respect and trying to bring awareness to the injustices that go on in this country by just turning her back from the flag and swaying back and forth. That to me seems like she didn't know what the hell she was doing, but she was like, I'm going to do it like this though. I'm doing it for these people. I'm doing it for my people. And I get that part. But that was not prepared. That was not a prepared stance. Movement. Like I showed before, Black Panther movement, they threw their fist up. They stood still as the national anthem is playing. Colin Kaepernick and all the other players that have followed in suit have taken a knee in solidarity and their stillness. But then when you start with her, when you have the flag going, you're there. It's the Olympic trials. You're about to go to Tokyo, baby. Third place, but still an amazing feat to have. The national anthem's playing, and you're just doing this stuff, hand on your hip, just turning your back and all that. That is not prepared, and that is not showing any type of solidarity towards anything. That just shows that you were just pissed off, and that's it. But like I said, she could have done, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, she's unpatriotic, anything like that. Not at all. I think she's patriotic. She would not go and represent her own country if she was not wanting to represent her own country. But I think what she did should have been more prepared. If she was going to do that, and like I said, I don't think she was going to do that until she actually went up there and she goes, they're playing the Star-Spangled Banner. Man, I have been set up. I've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, and then that's when she starts doing this stuff like, what am I going to do? I'm just going to stand here. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to stand here. I'm not going to put my hand on my heart. I'm just going to stand here. That's literally what it was to me, just from the photos. But like I said, I would love to see the video. I would love to see a video clip of her actually doing this, just to see how she was, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Just to see how she really was reacting to everything. Was it an attitude before she walked up to the podium? You know what I'm saying? Or was it Or was it right when she got on the podium, she just went, these mother lovers are trying to do this to me right now. Now I've been set up. Y'all set me up. Okay, what am I going to do now? And maybe she forgot about the knee. Maybe she forgot about putting up a fist. I don't know. But like I said, it was random, guttural, ill-prepared, poorly executed. And now people are talking about her. I think next time when she gets to Tokyo and she does her thing, I think that she is going to have a better reaction or a better gesture. She's either going to genuflect or she's going to put her fist up or something. It'll be something that's more prepared. Yeah, Chuck Diesel said, hey, I think she reacted the way she wanted to. Facts, she did. But I think it was poorly executed.
Pascal, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.